Often, we meet ourselves at the junction of making that tough decision of knowing whom to choose, accept, or cut off in our lives, especially when it comes to our relationships. Knowing this as Christians is one of the most important phases of our lives, as we need to be peaceful and fulfilled in our relationships, because that is when we will also be having a peaceful relationship with God Himself. Sometimes, one may be confused at what God's will for the one, and it may appear to be directly opposite to what you want or wish for. But ultimately, know this: God knows the best, and as His child, He will always give you the best. He has placed everyone and everything for a particular reason. So, if He is asking you to accept a person into your life right now, be hopeful and believe in the process He is taking you through. Here are some signs God is asking you to accept that person into your life for your life's course. Biblical confirmation. The Christian has a great advantage when it comes to relationships that the non-Christian does not have. We do not need to wonder and guess about what God does or does not want for us in life. When we read the Bible and pray, we learn in very specific details how God wants us to live our lives. It is easy to get so overwhelmed with all the unknowns about a specific relationship, and you might have so many questions that you begin to lose focus on what you do know. Sometimes the reason we cannot find answers to our questions is that we are asking God the wrong questions. What questions does God want us to ask Him? The questions He has already answered for us in the Bible. Most of the time, we should accept that we will not know all that we want to know, but we can always have answers to what we need to know. The Bible shows us what is essential and most important. So, if a relationship would stand, He will cause you to know this through His words. He will show them to you boldly, and sometimes go to the extent of saying this to you loudly in your visions and dreams. Then you know this relationship is clearly of God. He makes you see that you two are meant for each other. At other times, it could come as a strong warning from God if He sees that your heart is drifting from what He is asking you to do. This is a sign God probably wants you with this person. Things work out naturally in your relationship. Relationships are a unique place in life where the spiritual and practical combine and are constantly intermingling. There will be all kinds of spiritual indicators for Christians that God does or does not want them with someone. But God will speak through the practice as well. For example, if you really want to be with someone, but that person gets a job and moves away and doesn't seem interested in dating you long distance, this particular barrier in the relationship is a strong indication that God does not want you two together. On the other hand, when the necessary practical ingredients for the relationship to work are present, this is a good indication God does want you two to progress forward. Sometimes, things might not fall at full comfort though, but as long as things work out in the end, you can be sure that God has a plan for your relationship with that person. You just find that issues resolve themselves naturally with little or no input from your end. That way, you can see that it is God making things possible for His purposes to come to be. Even if you try diverting, you'll see things wouldn't work out between whoever is not meant for you to be with. Proverbs chapter 16 verses 9 states, "The heart of a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." When we apply this verse to the subject at hand, this means we will not only have the desire to be with someone in our hearts, but when God wants us with that person, He will enable us to take the practical steps necessary to make the relationship a reality. God makes you see that he or she is the right one to win the wars with you. It is not wise to look at the easiest path and assume that is the way God wants you to go. The road leading to God's will for your life is often the road that is marked by more trials and tests compared to the easy path forward. God disciplines those He loves, as Hebrews chapter 12 verses 5 through 6 teaches us. In 1 Peter chapter 4 verses 12 to 19, we are taught that we should not be surprised by the fiery trials that test us, because as Christians, we are called to bring God glory through these hardships. When God wants you to accept that person in your life for you two to be together, He is indirectly telling you and making you know you can only overcome these trials with that person. This means God will solidify and strengthen your bond, not through easy times alone, but through hardships when you come together. Don't get me wrong, a relationship should be filled with joy, fun, and pleasant seasons as well. But one sign that God truly does want you with someone is when, through the hard things that happen, trials arise and it all seems heavy, and yet it's that person you will always find at your side, running with you. This shows that even when you are together, if anything funny should come up, you can easily deal with it, which will strengthen your bond with each other rather than weaken it. Mutual interest, mutual commitment, and mutual progression forward will only work out with this person. One sign that is crucially important and is so obvious but often gets overlooked is the need for mutual interest from both people. There are lots of Christian singles out there who want to know whether or not God wants them or will let them build anything relationship with a particular person. But they are yet to determine if the other person is interested in them. God will rarely reveal anything about your relationship future with someone before you become aware of their feelings for you as well. Many singles want the security of knowing that a relationship will happen before they open up and reveal their feelings to the person they like. But again, God rarely allows this to happen. Instead, God will often reveal His will for this relationship through you expressing your feelings and seeing how the other person responds. When there is mutual interest, mutual commitment, and mutual willingness to move the relationship forward at a healthy pace, these are strong indications God does want you with this person in a relationship. You get major attention, sacrifices, and devotion no one is giving you except for this person. The best things in life take the most time and attention to cultivate and maintain, and if it is God's will for you to come together, He will make he or she see nothing in giving you their time and making simple sacrifices, like giving up their turn at work to go on some random game at relaxing hours, to say hi or check on you. Never is this principle seen more clearly than when it comes to relationships. Without hard work and lots of energy spent, a relationship will die. If someone can't muster up the strength to call you after work, the relationship is just not going to happen. If you just don't like someone enough to use your weekends to get to know them, this relationship is not meant to be. God will not make a relationship happen by allowing you to bypass all the hard work but still magically allow the relationship to thrive somehow. No, when God truly wants you to be with such a person, He will provide you both with the supernatural energy to make the relationship work no matter how occupied you happen to be at that moment. They will fit into God's purpose for your life. Sometimes, we tend to belittle people and often limit their potential they've got, but it's directly the opposite for God, especially when it comes to relationship. He brings people together so they could complement each other, and so you can always see the other half in the other person. Take for example, you know God's calling upon your life is to care for children, be on the lookout for them, guide, and put them through all stages He asked you to put them through until He's told you to stop. And you've got this person that loves children and is willing to give their all into this dream because it's also what they love to do. This is a sign God wants you two to come together to accomplish a greater goal. You might have the calling, but be completely oblivious as to how to go about it. It is for this reason that God will place that person there, so they can complement you and vice versa. Don't overlook this. Be patient enough to see what God is doing and His purpose for bringing that person into your life. He wants you to give this person a place in your heart because the other half that needs to complete the job is that person.